Hey everyone, Antoine Fantoine here. You know who it is. Internet's busiest music nerd, all that jazz. Before we get into this review, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor on this review, the good people over at Vinyl Me Please. They are a Vinyl of the Month club, brand new exclusive pressings of fantastic records sent to your front door every month. Also exclusive access to their store where even more unique exclusive pressings sit. They are linked down there in the description box. Not only do you get that record every month, you get some background on the record, a little bit of a drink recommendation to go with the album, some 12 by 12 inch art you can hang up around wherever you're listening to this record, and yeah, that's it, guys. So again, they are our fantastic sponsor. Want to thank them again for that. Once more, hit them up down there in the description, linked to the review. Bam! Yeah, I want you to hold my hand. I hope you're doing well. And it's time for a review of the new Black Mountain record for this is the fourth album from Canadian psych rock and stoner rock outfit Black Mountain. They have been at it for over a decade now. It's been about 6 years since we've heard from these guys in a full-length studio album capacity, though they did drop that Year Zero soundtrack like in 2012. Still though, it has been a while. And in my opinion, with their last full-length album, they didn't exactly leave on a high note. They sort of stripped out of their sound all of the progressive and epic and ambitious musical qualities that I thought made their previous record, their record previous to that, In the Future, so great. However, the teaser tracks from this new record over here, I was pretty excited about this album because I thought they were incredibly good. They were dynamic, they were heavy, it sounded like the band was including those ambitious song structures back into the formula. Not only with giant guitars that had kind of an old school vintage classic rock vibe to them at points, but also with retro futuristic synth leads that I just not see coming, but worked into Black Mountain style pretty well. So I really had no reason not to expect good things from this album, and Black Mountain did not disappoint. From the intro track Mothers of the Sun, which has these really dramatic organs which sound super ominous, very dark, buzzing, heavy guitar leads in there. Amber Weber's vocals on this track sound beautiful. Her voice has kind of a cultish feel to it at points. Her voice works very well with Stephen McBean's. All over this record, they have some pretty great chemistry. And this song is one of the longest in the track listing. Here it has multiple phases to it. Some heavy, some subtle, some hellish, and some heavenly, like when there are just loads and loads of group vocals worked into the track that feel almost gospel inspired, and you're getting lyrics like mother your children. It's a really grand start to the record, and this record I see as sort of a balance between In the Future and Black Mountain's last record, which, yeah, while it wasn't as ambitious, it was more straightforward, it was punchier, and the band goes punchy on the very next track, Florian Saucer Attack, where you get these driving guitars, driving drums. It's got kind of a proto-punk feel to it, seems somewhat Joan Jett inspired, especially with Amber Weber wailing on top of the track with just loads of fire coming from her vocals. She is fire breathing. Her vocals are shaking at some points in the song with intensity, and somehow the band still manages to work in the sci-fi synth leads with this track, and they still sound great. The record's first misstep, in my opinion, though, is on the song You Can Dream, where the bubbly, throbbing synth arpeggios all over this track consistently from beginning to end clash with the roaring desert guitar leads that just aesthetically they don't complement one another. And then as far as the refrain goes on this thing, the lyrics are not that good. Dream baby dream, dream dream dream. I mean, at this point I'm dreaming for some better lyrics on this track. So yeah, definitely low point for me on the record, but things pick back up instantaneously on the very next cut, Constellations, where you get this cowbell coming through in the drum beat and these staccato guitar riffs that have a lot of swagger to them. It kind of reminds me of like a Queens of the Stone Age song. Didn't think Black Mountain could pull this kind of thing off, but they do. And once again, with some eeriness too, not only coming through on the vocals, but those retro futuristic alien synth leads somehow appear here again. They're really kind of the theme, the sonic theme of this album that ties all these tracks together, and here they work too. Now, past the halfway mark of this record, Black Mountain starts just throwing out some slow jams. In fact, the whole second half of this record is a lot more mellow than the first half. The song Cemetery Breeding, which I think has one of the most melancholy and just stab you right in the heart lead melodies, is a track that lyrically seems like a tribute to friends that the band has lost over time. Another interesting lyrical moment comes through on the song Crucify Me, which seems like one of the most vulnerable spots on the record. The track does kind of end abruptly though, which is a little disappointing, but generally I like how subtle and soft the track is. There are these really wonderful embellishments coming from synths and piano all throughout the track, a little acoustic guitar back there. It's a really vivid, soft, luscious wall of sound coming through on this track. The only thing kind of breaking up this very vast soundscape being some really cool pronounced drum fills. You know the kind of drum fills I'm talking about. And in the second half here, the band makes sure to take us on a few psychedelic odysseys as well. The song Over and Over the Chain is a buzzing wall of synths and roaring guitars that seem like they're improvising for a lot of the tracks. Some droning organ worked into there too. It's a very tense wall of sound that I like a lot. The closer is pretty psychedelic and vast as well, but to me it's definitely one of the duds in the track listing here. It's definitely not one of the cuts that just keeps me on the edge of my seat. I guess the band sort of decided to take a more relaxed approach for this record's final moments on this album, which was a little unexpected because it felt like they were building up to something. It would have been appropriate to just put a big finish in there, considering how just non-existent the ending of Crucify Me is. I thought they would kind of transition into a big closer from this very somber and easygoing track. And that's pretty much the record in a nutshell. I think this is overall it's a decent return for Black Mountain. I certainly like it more than their last record. It's not blowing me away, but if you're looking for a psychedelic, stoner, heavy, somewhat classic rock influenced synth prog pilgrimage, then this thing is going to be worth checking out. I'm feeling a light 7 on this thing. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe or you'll die. Black Mountain 4 forever.